did a song together. Them little dudes.
Outlaws.
Yeah, we got it. They came up to Pop talking about, yo, Lauryn Hill dissed you, Mobb Deep dissed you.
Tupac, he really had an issue with Jay-Z. He really didn't like him then.
Not at all.
In the glittering world of hip-hop, where loyalty is everything, and betrayal cuts deeper than any diss track, some stories get buried under platinum plaques and billion-dollar brands. But what if the man who helped launch Jay-Z, so-called GOAT, was quietly pushed aside, erased from the narrative he helped create? And what if Tupac, the voice of raw pain and truth, saw it all coming before anyone else did? Today, Big Daddy Kane pulls the curtain back and exposes a truth the industry never wanted us to hear. Jay-Z didn't just rise to the top, he climbed over giants to get there. Real quick, if you're into raw, unfiltered breakdowns of hip-hop's untold stories, hit that like button and subscribe. No fluff, no PR, spin just, real talk, and solid receipts. Let's get into how Jay-Z may have betrayed the two men who shaped him, Big Daddy Kane and Tupac Shakur. Before Jay-Z was Hove, before the business deals and the Roc Nation empire, he was a hungry rapper from Marcy Projects. And one man saw the spark: early Big Daddy Kane. Not only did Kane bring Jay on tour, letting him spit freestyles during outfit changes, but he also recorded demo tracks with him and shopped them to record labels. Back then, nobody wanted Jay.
And you said that she was right there when the Outlaws told Tupac that Lauryn Hill dissed him?
Yeah, like that was like soon as we walked in. We wasn't in the booth yet. I mean in the control room yet. We was like in the front of Death Row.
And what was his reaction?
He took his hands to the control room and started writing.
Kane believed in him when no one else did. Jay got to learn stage presence, crowd control, pacing all directly from Kane, one of the smoothest MCs in history. But as Jay ascended, Kane's name faded from the conversation. In interviews, documentaries, and even Jay's own memoir, Decoded, Kane is barely mentioned. Just a quick nod, like a footnote in a chapter he helped write. That silence speaks volumes. Because what Kane gave Jay wasn't just a platform, it was a blueprint. Yet the mentor got no credit, no flowers, just static. Kane kept quiet for years, but now he's speaking up, and it changes everything. Jay-Z fans know the track Do It Again, but most never caught the hidden jab buried in the lyrics. Jay spits, "I seen the same ish happen to Kane cuts in your eyebrows trying to wild out." Sounds harmless unless you know the history. Kane was famous for his signature 3 eyebrow slits, a bold fashion statement in the late 80s and early 90s. Was Jay mocking him? Some in the industry say yes. Angie Martinez even commented on her show that it sounded like a diss. Kane publicly brushed it off, but the damage was done. The man who once gave Jay the mic was now being subtly ridiculed by the protege he helped shape. That bar wasn't just clever, it was cold. It painted Kane as outdated, a relic, someone who tried too hard. Jay's tone was icy, dismissive, and for those who knew their history, it was a betrayal written in 16 bars. Long before the world knew about Jay's beef with Nas, another war was brewing, one much deeper. Tupac had no love for Jay-Z. According to Kane, Pac didn't trust him, didn't like him, and made it known. The industry had started shifting rappers with messages and soul were being replaced by hustlers chasing money and image. Tupac saw the change, and Jay-Z became the poster child for that shift. Pac threw subliminal shots in tracks like Bomb First and F, Friends, indirectly firing at Jay. But the root of the beef? Jay's collaboration with Biggie on Brooklyn's Finest. That song threw gasoline on an already blazing East Coast-West Coast fire. Pac felt the betrayal hard. The line, "If Faye had twins, she'd probably have 2 packs" from Biggie hit too close. And Jay on the track, in full support, was now part of the target. Pac was raw emotion. Jay was calculated cool. But the tension between them was real, and Pac wasn't the type to let disrespect slide, subliminal or not. Here's where things get icy. Jay-Z did write a diss track aimed directly at Tupac. The track, called Scathing, was never released, but he did perform it live at the Apollo after Pac's death. Let that sink in. Jay waited until the man was in the ground to finally air out his anger. DJ Clark Kent, who was there, said the song was brutal, filled with disrespect, and driven by ego. Why didn't Jay drop it earlier? He said it was out of respect, but the timing makes it feel more like fear. Pac was a lion, unfiltered, volatile, charismatic. Jay was more strategic, safer, controlled. So instead of engaging him head-on, he waited until there was no risk, and then he unloaded. That move, it left a sour taste in many mouths. Because you don't diss a man after he's gone. You don't get bold when there's no one left to respond. But Jay did, and it revealed a side of him most fans never saw. You've heard the rumors that Jay-Z didn't just respect Pac, he feared him. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, told a chilling story. Jay was in Las Vegas and scheduled to perform, but Pac and his crew were in town, and Jay reportedly refused to leave his hotel. He was too afraid. Pac's presence was that commanding. Jay knew that crossing paths could end badly. Now think about this. A man that's scared of another artist waits until he dies, then performs a diss track? It paints a picture not of confidence, but of cold, calculated timing. Jay wasn't trying to go head-to-head with Pac in real time. He didn't want smoke, but once the threat was gone, he suddenly found his voice. But it wasn't just fear of confrontation that defined Jay's moves, it was what he didn't say. And when he chose to say nothing, that speaks the loudest. Industry insiders have whispered for years that Jay-Z was a master of calculated silence. He didn't clap back, he waited. He didn't challenge directly, he maneuvered in shadows. While Tupac aired out his soul, naming names and exposing fakes, Jay played chess. He positioned himself quietly, made alliances, and let others self-destruct. And for some, that looked like wisdom. For others, cowardice. There's also the chilling story told by former Death Row insiders, who claimed Jay-Z avoided events where Pac or Suge Knight might appear. He wasn't just ducking beef, he was dodging being in the same room. Think about that. One of the most powerful rappers alive today began by avoiding eye contact with a man who embodied fearless truth. And that fear shaped everything. It shaped Jay's brand, his responses, his relationship 7, his silence. The fear wasn't just about physical confrontation, it was about being outshined, lyrically and spiritually, by someone he could never match in energy or authenticity. And that fear, many say, turned into bitterness after Pac died, and power once Jay realized he could finally rewrite the story. It wasn't just Kane and Pac who saw through Jay, Nas did too. In a rare Vibe interview, Nas revealed a private conversation where Jay told him he was better than Biggie and that Tupac and DMX weren't lyricists. Nas was stunned. He straight up told Jay that Pac was the greatest, period. But that quote shows the kind of mindset Jay had, always competing, always needing to be seen as the best Steven if it meant rewriting history. Jay didn't just want to be successful, he wanted the crown, and he wanted it uncontested. That meant downplaying legends like Pac and Kane, minimizing their influence, and inflating his own legacy. And over time, that's exactly what happened. Ask a Gen Z fan who helped Jay-Z rise, and many won't even know about Kane. Ask them who Pac dissed, and Jay's name might not even come up. Because history, when left unchecked, gets rewritten by the winners. Here's where things get darker. Jay-Z stayed close to Diddy for Decade 7 as whispers linked Diddy to both Pac and Biggie's deaths. Whether you believe those rumors or not, they haunted hip-hop for years. Yet Jay remained aligned with Diddy, publicly, proudly, until 2023. That's when the Cassie lawsuit exploded, dragging Diddy's name through the mud. And suddenly, Jay was telling people they weren't even friends. That's the pattern. Jay aligns himself with power, with rising stars. But when the tide shifts, he vanishes, rewrites, distances himself. Whether it's Kane, Pac, or Diddy, same playbook keeps repeating. He knows when to be loyal and when to disappear. And to many of his peers, that's not smart, it's snake-like. Big Daddy Kane is finally speaking out not to start drama, but to reclaim the credit he earned. Tupac saw through the smoke and mirrors early. Nas tried to call it out. And now, the pieces are finally clicking for the rest of us. Jay-Z isn't just a billionaire mogul. He's a man whose legacy may be built on strategic silence, erased friendships, and quiet betrayals. So what do you think? Did Jay-Z betray Big Daddy Kane after getting his foot in the door? Was his beef with Tupac real? Or just a one-sided fear he masked with bravado? And is it fair to say Jay studied his mentors, then stepped over them? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. And if you want more unfiltered stories that cut through the noise, hit that subscribe button. Because the deeper we dig, the clearer the truth becomes. See you next time. And here's one last thought before we go, because this part rarely gets talked about. What happens when someone builds an empire off silence, off precision, off knowing exactly when not to speak? That's Jay-Z's genius and his controversy. While some call it strategy, others see manipulation. He didn't just survive the chaos of 90s, hip-hop outlived it. But at what cost? Big Daddy Kane may have passed the torch, but he never expected to be written out of the history books. And Tupac? He was warning us all along. That charisma, that fire, it scared people, including Jay. So now that the legends are gone and the truth is surfacing, we have to ask, how many more untold stories are buried beneath Jay-Z's billion-dollar silence? Thanks for watching, and as always, stay tuned. The real story is never over.